Hello and welcome along to the Virtual Racing Project Cars 2 series, where today we are kicking off with a brand new championship, new for 2022, sponsored by West Wales Karting as ever, and the drivers are raring to go here today at the Formula C Championship on the Project Cars 2 platform, Xbox of course, as ever. The format is pretty simple, as this league tends to just focus on the driving skills rather than setup skills and everything. So we've got qualifying for 5 minutes. Race length is 30 minutes, one mandatory pit stop which must be taken in the middle part of the race, so not within the first 3 laps or end 3 laps. And you can see the calendar, Zolder we're at today, so historic circuit, very old school, characterised by lots of undulating corners and chicanes, and it should be proving quite a challenge for the drivers, I would have thought, especially in these Formula C cars, which are a little bit of a handful, especially compared to the Ginetta cars that we had at the last championship. And most of the drivers, I think, from that championship are back with us. We've got 16 drivers who are signed up for this championship, which is the maximum possible, so a full grid. And you can see now the safety car pounding round this Zolder circuit in the rain, and it's foggy as well. We've got mixed weather conditions on for this championship, so anything could happen. The drivers have to be prepared for everything, don't they, Alex?
Yeah, definitely. Completely random weather, so it could be nice and dry. It could be like, as you see on the screen now, an absolute torrential downpour, and you won't want to get too caught up in some of these puddles, especially at this corner. You can just see it's absolutely glistening. If you get stuck in there, you might want to call a plumber out to get yourself out.
Yeah, definitely. This circuit as well is, well, it's basically in the middle of lots of different rivers, isn't it? And when it rains like this, the rivers make their way onto the circuit and cause absolute havoc. And if it is raining today, which we suspect it might be, the drivers are just going to have to be thinking their way through each and every single lap, because it's going to be changing lap by lap, the conditions.
Definitely, especially as it can be dry one side, wet the other side. Then choosing tyres if it does start to dry out. It doesn't look like it's going to dry out today with that amount of rain, but coming up to the end of the lap now with the safety car going through the final bit.
I would pronounce some of these corners, but I had a little look before we came on for commentary today, and I won't embarrass myself by trying to pronounce any of those names, I don't think.
Yeah, I can't pronounce them either.
So let's have a look at the starting grid today, Alex.
Yeah, and on pole as usual is CDL for 144.581, but pushed all the way by Roger in second, only 20 thousandths of a second off him. And then Stu in third, good qualifying for him. Scuderia Sam in fourth, so those two will be side by side for start, who had a great battle in the Ginettas. Then Sabroso in fifth, Chris Doherty in sixth, and then got Stalker Brown in seventh, Beatsy Dan 8th, Luffy McGee in 9th, Wolf in 10th, then returning Alex Brown in 11th, Twingo 12th, Mike Evans 13th, and Freegazel 14th.
Yeah, it's good to see a lot of the Ginetta lot back on the grids here today, and look at the conditions. It's fog, it's rain, we're expecting mayhem here, and they're off already. It's a quick start, and someone's lost it already and smashed into the wall. There's a 4-car pile-up on the start line, pretty much. I think that's McGee, BTCC Dan, Alex Brown and Big Bug Wolf all involved. They've got a lot of work to do now. Free Gazelle benefited massively from that, and you can't see a thing here as they head into turn 2. And who's that flying through the air? I think that's Scuderia Sam. He's on his roof. Something happened in all that fog, and now he finds himself on his roof again. So we're just waiting here in the commentary box to wait and see who actually comes out of this first lap in the lead, because at the moment we have got no clue. It's just cars absolutely everywhere, like squirming for grip, trying to spot their braking points. I doubt many of these drivers will have practiced in the fog either, to be honest. Maybe they would have had a little go in the rain beforehand. Riding on board now is Stalker Brown, and who's that on the inside? That's Sabroso. Stalker Brown breaks a lot later though into a tricky chicane here, right in the curves nicely. Have to be so cautious on those curves, and up the hill they go now. Careful not to break traction. Riding on board with Sabroso, who tried to go down the inside. Now he finds himself behind in that wall of spray being kicked up by the 4 cars in front of him, but it's Alex CDL who's kept pole position advantage by leading through the first half lap here. Roger the Dodger, Stuart Davis, Stalker Brown, Sabroso, Chris Doherty, Scuderia Sam now back down to 7th, so considering he was on his roof, that's not too bad actually for Scuderia Sam, and a few drivers with lots of ground to make up. Stuart Davis there tried to switch to the inside, to go down the inside there of Stalker Brown, I think it might have been, and didn't quite work out for him. What's happened to Roger the Dodger though? He's down to 3rd now by the looks of it, in the wall of spray. as they come up to the last corner of the circuit now, which is a tricky little chicane. As we saw with the safety car footage, Roger the Dodger lining himself up for a good exit here, careful on the curbs. He gets a little bit of understeer though, or is someone going to nip through the inside here? You can see the swarm of cars behind him as they head now back into the wall of fog and back around for another lap.
Yeah, if there's any other racers, you imagine they'd pull the race off on this one. It's absolutely insane. There's no visibility. You can see different lines being taken there. Stalk around taking the traditional line. I think that's Roger taking a wider line off the rubbery bit, which will be slippery. You can see everyone's just doing different lines. Stalk around even on the going very wide there, just try and find some traction. But I don't think it's helped to see Chris now catching up behind him. Looking on the inside, that's brave. God, you really can't see anything if you go to replay here. Most likely be the start. Yeah, you can see. Yeah, just no traction. Tyres a bit cold, and it's just caught everyone out. That's a huge crash.
That's Team Crash and Bash, I think, doing a bit of a demolition job of Alex Brown and and Loopy McGee. But yeah, big crash on the start line there, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was.
Easily done.
New cars, very tricky conditions. It's been a while since done a wet race, and it was inevitable there would be a big crash. But didn't expect before the first corner.
Certainly not, and rising on boards and again now is Stalk Brown. Understandably, I think the cameramen trackside are taking a bit of a break until hopefully maybe this fog clears a bit. We have got a few weather slots in the races in this series, so the weather can change quite quickly on this game. How's McEvs doing? He's in 11th at the moment, so he's ahead of Free Gazelle and Alex Brown and Big Bad One. So Luke McGee and BTCC Dan, considering they were involved in that big pile-up, up to 9th and 10th now, so they seem to have quite good pace early on here.
Yeah, not doing too bad, and that's very. You see the tricky conditions, very slippery. See Gazelle taking it nice and easy in the wet. But go back to McEvs, he's made this jump to a steering wheel setup now. He's no longer controller, so he'll be getting used to it and hopefully bring up speed. And see, maybe that's how Wolf's getting in so many positions, by just absolutely leapfrogging the chicane. And Roger and a Stu straight into the back of him. Almost lifted him up, and different braking styles and different ways of going through that corner. It just caught Roger out.
Yeah, but we talk about aquaplaning, don't we? Lifting the car off the ground and losing grip, but that's Roger planing, maybe we can call that one.
Yeah, he's lucky to get away with that, because that would have easily spun Stu about, and then back with Sabrosa, who's actually caught up a bit now. It's a good battle for the podium positions here, and it looks like Alex has just driven off at the front, so second looks like a reasonable amount now, but if the rain gets any worse, anything's playful.
Well, if it was in dry conditions, based on the practice pace we were seeing with some of these drivers beforehand, Alex CDL was certainly the favourite, the reigning, fresh off the Ginetta Championship champion of the GT5 car series, and he certainly has taken to these cars, I was going to say like a duck to water, but that would probably be quite apt actually today. And even in the wet conditions, he is already pulled quite an advantage over the field here. So he's looking favourite at the moment is Alex CDL, but behind him it's anyone's guess for 2nd, 3rd and 4th and 5th and 6th and 7th here today. And still riding on board with Roger the Dodger here. He gets a bit sideways on the grass now. It just about hangs on to it. Look how tricky it is. Just press that throttle pedal ever so slightly too much, and that back end becomes very lively. And these cars are tricky to drive in the best of times, especially compared to the Ginettas. But he's got a great exit here off turn 4. Stuart Davis goes defensive on the inside, and the side-by-side now coming into the chicane. You can't even see the chicane yet, but it'll just come into view now through that wall of fog, and side by side they go. It's getting very tight, and still side by side, and Roger's on his round. He's lost the back end, and he's on the grass, but he just manages to keep it sort of pointing the right way, back on the circuit now, but he's down to 5th. He's lost positions to Sabrosa and Stalker Brown, who were both in hot pursuit when Stuart Davis and Stalker Brown and Roger Dodger were battling there, and you can see they're still battling their way for 2nd, 3rd and 4th, so Roger's got a little bit of ground to make up, but he's got a big gap back to Scuderia Sam. Really heated battle going on here, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. You have to imagine Roger be kicking himself in there, but it looks like Stu might be holding these 3 drivers up. They might be a bit more confident in the wet. You see Stalker Brown really getting on to the back of Sabrosa. He was doing really well at the end of the Ginetta Championship, and it shows it's falling through now into this Formula C Championship.
I'm sure they're all following through in these conditions.
Yeah, definitely. as we go on board with Scooter Sam making his way back up. He's up to, where's that, 6th place now, so that's good after being on his lid at the start. And very different lines there. Loopy attacking CC Dan, look around the outside. That's going to be quite tricky because it will wash you wide. But good exit there from VC Dan, he's pulled away a bit.
Yeah, these two are engaged in a great battle as well at the moment. So we've got battles all the way up and down the field. They're for 8th and 9th at the moment, Luke McGee and Big Sedan. And Luke McGee gets a great run out of that corner now. And he's side by side, pulls alongside BTC Sedan and slightly ahead now. He's looking across to see where one half of Crash and Bash is, along with Richard, of course, Big Bad Wolf. And BTC Sedan on the outside. Is he going to try and brave it around the outside? No, he's not. He's going to try and get a better exit, but he's trying to find the grip, isn't he, off the main racing line as BTC Sedan, using the wet line, as we call it there. And he's got a great slipstream on Luke McGee now, see if he can get back past. They do seem quite evenly paced at this stage of the race, these two. And they're having a lot of fun as well, by the looks of it. Luke McGee going very deep into that corner. Oh, and they make contact. And BTC Sedan's round. I think he was just caught out by the different lines they were taking there, and he's round again now. Oh, he's losing loads of time. He resets the car. He's facing the right way for once now, and he gets underway again. Let's see what's going to happen next, though, because Twingo's not far behind either. Twingo fantastic.
Yeah, it was a good overtaking move there. Just, oh no, is this a different one? It's hard to tell with all this fog. Oh, I think that was the little mistake he did.
Roger, was it that one?
Yeah, it's, yeah, Roger's move. It's so much standing water there. It's hard to get on the throttle. You'll see some drivers just tiptoeing through there. And, well, they try and tiptoe through there now, and it's just straight around. It's almost as if these wet tyres can't handle this amount of water.
Yeah, it's a really good point. It does seem like that, doesn't it? And we see Twingotastic now in the pit lane. So he's one of the earliest drivers to make his one mandatory pit stop. Of course, the pit lane is open after the first 3 laps now. So he's going to come out into the pit lane exit, which feeds right into the racing line here. So to see the rain and the fog still heavily coming down, we'll see where Twingotastic comes back out. He's 11th at the moment behind Big Bad Wolf. But he wasn't far behind BTC Sedan, was he? I don't think, when BTC Sedan spun, so it could be close between those two when Dan pits. And who's that? Having a little look down the inside. I think that's the top 3 battling away, is it? And looking at Scuderia Sam now, he's closed right up to the back of this bunch, but now he's coming in the pit lane, so he decides not to get involved with that battle and make an early pit stop. Maybe that could be a good strategic decision there.
Yeah, it could be smart. Might have seen the battle up ahead and went, I don't want to get involved with that. Pit early, they lose time, I gain time. Hopefully fresh air comes out, and then nip the places when they pit. So it could be a very smart plan there. But on board with Sabrosa, fog's easing up a bit. You see there's 2 battling ahead. That's Stu and Stalker. And Stalker around the outside. That's brilliant. But you can see there's just no grip at the moment. Oh, who's that around?
Sabrosa.
Ooh, well held on the grass. That's just not the place you want to be, and stays 4th place. But even fast drivers and relatively consistent drivers like Sabrosa are struggling big time.
Yeah, well, when you see Sabrosa struggle like that, you know how treacherous it is. I mean, any one of these drivers could throw it off the road at any point, to be honest. And you see now Stuart Davis just up ahead there, and Sabrosa's struggling again. Oh, and he's off properly this time. And who's that following him off? That's Roger, I think. Yeah, so Roger and Sabrosa. I think Roger just got caught out there, followed the same line as Sabrosa, and they both ended up going off. So even though the fog is easing now, the conditions on the circuit are getting even more treacherous by the looks of it, as the rain just continues to hammer down.
Another one.
That's Chris Doherty off now as well, and you can see on the track, look at the puddles starting to form, and Chris Doherty's doing donuts for the crowd now. This is not what he's probably intended on doing today, but at least he's turned into a crowd favourite, fan favourite. But Chris Doherty, we know how much pace he's got. There's a long way still to go in this one. It's a 30-minute race, of course, and we're not even halfway yet. But you can see those puddles on the track now, Alex, and they're going to be causing absolute mayhem, aren't they?
Yeah, I think that's what happened to Sabrosa and Roger. They just hit the outside of that chicane, which is just collecting water, and it just aquaplanes off. And that's another one. There's Alex Brown, well held, great drift there, the supreme car control. Still going, he's down.
Tokyo Drift, I think.
Yeah, he's down in 11th, but that's brilliant driving. Then you see Twingo and Kev's battling, it looks like. Oh no.
Yeah, McKev's has caught it right up to the back of... is it Twingo?
Is it Twingo, or is he being lapped? He might be being lapped by Alex.
Oh yeah, I think you're right actually. Yeah, you're right there, Alex. Alex is way out ahead at the moment. 12-second lead ahead of Stuart Davis. And then you've got Stuart Davis, Stalker Brown, and then a couple of seconds back, Roger the Dodger and Subrosa all battling away, and then a big gap back to Scuderia Sam, but he's already made his pit stop, of course. So I think the top 5 at the moment haven't made their pit stop, so it'll be interesting to see how that all shakes out. And you can see Alex there getting great traction up the road there, and now he's going to pass. Is this Luke? No, who is this?
That might be Twingo, it looks like. It's going to be very...
Yeah, it must be, isn't it? Yeah.
Oh,
Twingo.
you see they're both just sliding wide, and Twingo gets out the way, so being lapped obviously, but you can see they're both struggling in the braking and not wanting to hit each other. It's just, the conditions are absolutely evil out there.
Yeah, and for us commentators, it's not easy. A new championship, new liveries to learn, and it's raining and foggy as well. So, yeah, bear with us whilst we still learn these liveries. But it looks like Stalker Brown now is still chasing hard after Stuart Davis. You can see the wall of spray being kicked up by Stuart just up ahead there. And these two are having a great battle here today. Really, really fierce battle going on. And of course, they wouldn't have raced each other, I don't think, before directly, because they were in different categories, weren't they, in the last series, and that's where Stalker Brown joined.
Yeah, a lot of new battles. Obviously, there's juniors and GT5s last championship, and now everyone's in the same car, so be bragging rights over the whole field this time. So it'll be quite interesting. And I don't think we mentioned it. There's new teams as well this championship, but some staying together. Some well, it was completely done by random, and obviously Stu and Alex aren't a team anymore. The Irish lads aren't a team anymore, so it's going to be tricky to remember that as well. And if Stu and Alex were teammates, this would have been the perfect start to this championship. We see Freezel there slipping and sliding. It must feel like an absolute downpour on him at the moment. In last place in the wet, it's not going well.
Yeah, he's having some water problems at the moment. You can see the rain just coming down there on top of Free Gazelle, and yeah, he's working away there, isn't he? He's plugging away. He's last at the moment, but we've seen how much pace he had in the Ginetta series, but thankfully we didn't have any water in the Ginetta series.
Yeah, you imagine he doesn't like the rain that much, especially the water. Probably wishes he has a bucket just trying to get all the water off the track. Might help him a bit.
Yeah, that's true, but he's not giving up. He's not going for an early shower or an early bath. He's just carrying on his way.
Oh, that's a half spin on the grass. It's BTCC Dan again, but 9th place is not too bad. He's ahead of his teammates still, so that'll be him happy. And then up in, what's that, 8th place is Chris, not going into the pits, carrying on. And just see how slow they're all having to go, just tiptoeing. It's not too bad on the front straight, but as you see, there's not as much spray compared to the rest of the track. I think that's Dan pitting in the background there. Yeah, he's coming into the pits.
Camera pans around. Yeah, there he is. BDCC Dan in the pit lane. So let's see where he comes back out now. He's coming peeling into the pits. I can't imagine he's going to be changing any tyres or anything because, well, why would you with the rain still hammering down here? It doesn't look like this race is going to be run under any dry conditions whatsoever, does it, at this stage? But we'll have to wait and see. Oh, look, Big Bad Wolf as well joining BDCC down in the pits. So great minds think alike by the looks of it. A crash and bash team there.
Yeah, I wonder if they meant to do that on purpose, because technically you can't double stack on this game unless you time it correctly, and it looks like they just timed it there. And who's that in the background? Is that the leader or Chris?
I think they're all coming to the pits now. They're all peeling in, look, because you got Alex now. The gap has dropped way down, the leader, and there's a car parked up at the last corner there. I didn't quite see who that was. It might have been Free Gazelle. So look at Alex Brown pounding his way down the start-finish straight now. But I think a lot of the top 5 have come into the pits by the looks of it there, you know, Alex?
Yeah, definitely. I said Alex. Ooh, who's that going straight on?
Alex Brown.
Oh, I think he might be just getting out of the way. Yeah, there's absolutely hectic in the pit lane at the moment. It looks like you got Stu, I think Stalker Brown followed him in as well, so that battle should continue. They might have been reacting to the leaders, but they'll have to keep an eye out for that man in 5th place. Scuderia Sam, it could come around the outside. He'll have the momentum. Oh, he's got Stu. Has he got Stu? No, he comes outside with Stu sideways. Look at the puddles. It's you need a 4-wheel drive to get through there. They're almost they are almost crawling through. Sadly you can't see. Well, you can just about see the speed on there. What's that?
Oh, someone's off.
That's Stu. Is that Stalker Brown? Oh, it's just chaotic there at the moment.
Yeah. Well, it was straight into the wall then. Obviously, it's a traction zone, and they're turning where those rivers are running across the circuit. So you've got traction and turning in puddles. It's never going to end well, is it? And it's amazing how many drivers peeled into the pits all at once there. It was almost as if everyone just decided it was time to pit. And look at that struggling Loopy McGee for grip. They're coming up there. Look at the water on the track, Alex. There's an absolute lake going on at the bottom of that hill at the moment, and that's very much in a traction zone, and you're going uphill there too. So Loopy McGee there starting to struggle coming out of that corner, and rounds is who was that? Was that
looks like that's either Stu or Loopy.
Stu it was, I think, that one.
Yeah, because it looks like he's lost a position. That's not great. I bet some of the drivers will be screaming to turn the water off at this point. It's just getting absolutely mental.
Yeah, definitely. But did you see how close it was between Stewart and Scuderia Sam? Oh, you see Stuart Davis. Oh, and up in the air goes Stalker Brown. He's lost his wing, but it's okay. It's only performance. It's only cosmetic damage, not performance impacting. But these two are having a real scrap here, and you can see Scuderia Sam's just scampered up the road now. It was a really good decision to pit earlier, I think. But Stuart Davis there battling away with Stalker Brown still, and that nearly came to blows. And Stuart Davis struggling again. Now he's off at the last corner, so Stalker Brown retakes that position now. And Luke McGee is also involved with that because he hasn't made his pit stop yet. Absolute chaos.
It is absolute chaos. I think the only ones that haven't pitted it is Roger and Sabrosa. They've stayed out, so they're second and third. But with how hard the conditions are at the moment and how slow they have to get, that could be an issue for him. Because with Sam pitting earlier, he had a lot more pace to come out on. You see that everyone's just going so slow. It's almost like a drift championship, the first three corners.
Yeah, remember what we were saying earlier about this track being situated in the middle of lots of rivers? Well, now this track is a river now. And that was Stuart Davis making his way past, was that Chris Doherty possibly?
Yeah, laughing
one
Chris.
of the green cars. Alex was the other green car. I'm seeing a replay here. This is of it's Scuderia Sam. Oh, Scuderia Sam and Stuart Davis coming side by side. Stuart coming out right out of the pits alongside Scuderia Sam. They met right in the middle there, and Stuart Davis nearly got that position, but then got a little bit sideways on the throttle, which allowed Sam to go round the outside there. And this is the replay now of the battle between Stuart Davis and Stalker Brown. Stalker Brown tried to look for the cutback, and they both drifted a little bit wide, and Stalker Brown was sent airborne.
Yeah, just
thankfully they carried on their battle, didn't they?
Yeah, just understeered straight into the side pod of him, and I wonder if Stu seeing Sam try. You can just see the aquaplane is straight on there. There's so much water. But it looked like Stu might have just come a bit too aggressively across, or he just lit up the tyres. It's hard to say. They'll have to look back at that one with Sam. But Sam's taking the positions. Ooh, who's that? Oh, they're going slow for it. You can see the cars are just kicking up, or they're trying to go wide to avoid the puddle. It's hard to tell, but who's that? That's Roger in fourth. So he's lost positions to Scuderia Sam, who's now up to third. So I wonder if that was a mistake or he's pitted.
I think it was, when they were struggling going up the hill there in the lake and they were just aquaplaning. I think Roger the Dodger just aquaplaned a little bit more there than Scuderia Sam, and that handed the position and the advantage up the hill to Sam there, who's up into third now. But Subrosa's still in second. He's only a few seconds up the road from Scuderia Sam and Roger the Dodger, and then you've got Stalker Brown and Stuart Davis carried on their seemingly never-ending battle here. They just can't get rid of each other.
Yeah, it's a good little group, and it's quite nice to see everyone close together. The rain has, in a way, sort of brought everyone together at the front. You can't really pull a gap to anyone. Oh no, Roger is pitting now, so yeah, it was a mistake like you said. So where's he dropped down? This could be quite costly pitting so late into the race.
Yeah, I'm not sure where he's had good pace, this Roger. I'm not sure he's had a couple of errors possibly that's put him down into this position, because he was fighting. He's got the pace to fight up there, hasn't he, in the top 5, 6, 7. But suddenly he finds himself now on the bottom end of that kind of group. Whether it's just pitting too late or a couple of errors, I'm not too sure. We'll have to review that one. But who's that off now? That's Stuart Davis behind Stalker Brown. Yeah, Stalker Brown just off on the grass there, doing a bit of rally cross. Thankfully he manages to get back on the grey bit, and Stuart Davis will be now lining him up for a pass down into the chicane. But you'd have to be a really brave man to go and send one down there, wouldn't you? Especially with the lake that the drivers now know is waiting for them on the other side of this corner, and we'll see it now rising on board. Look at this, Alex. Look at that lake. Oh, it's Stalker Brown off.
It's almost like he took it a bit too fast. I think his new stew was there and had to try and compensate and went straight on and someone else losing the wing. Stalker Brown back on track. It's just like a mirror going through that section. It's absolutely glistening, but same with this bit. That's Stu getting sideways. Stalker Brown pushing a bit. That was quite a good line there. But oh no, he's in the puddle. Well held though. He'll be going again. The problem they got is most of the corners are cambered, as you can see there, and it's just pooling right at the bottom next to the curbing. So you're gonna either have to go wide and knock the speed off a bit, or just try and trust your driving skills.
Yeah, that's a good point you make about the cambered corners as well. Obviously we've got the undulations, but the camber too adds to the issues, doesn't it? And you can see there Makev's wisely avoiding that puddle on the inside there. I'm sure most of the drivers will be doing that now. And Subrosa now makes his pit stop, so very late in the race for Subrosa. And he's in third now, so Scuderia Sam promotes it to second. So we'll have to wait and see where Subrosa comes back out. I'd imagine it'll be roughly where Roger the Dodger is. He actually finds himself behind Loopy McGee now, does Roger the Dodger. So that's interesting.
Yeah, that's a really good. Not sure when Loopy pitted, but that's a really good effort by him if he has pitted early, like Sam did, and made up the positions whilst the track was in a better state. But who's that? I think that's Roger coming through. So the cameraman's lost the cars in all this rain. So there's Subrosa. He comes out just ahead of McGee, it looks like. So yeah, Roger's lost a whole host of time somewhere. Must have been that instant earlier.
Yeah, quite possibly, I think. And yeah, so we got Subrosa now fifth. So it looks like this after all the drivers have made their stops now. Alex Idiel we're looking at on screen, the race leader. We haven't seen much of him this race, but he's just been up ahead and minding his own business. He has a 10-second lead over Scuderia Sam, who's up to second after taking an early pit stop. Stuart Davis and Stalker Brown are continuing their never-ending battle in third and fourth, with Subrosa seizing the advantage ahead of McGee and Roger. BTC Sedan now ahead of his teammate Big Bad Wolf. Alex Brown and Chris Doherty, who's had a couple of errors, who was second in the GT5 Championship last time out in the Ginettas, has had an absolute terrible start to this championship, down in 11th there. I think he's had a couple of errors, hasn't he? And Makev's Twingo, and then Free Gazelle in 14th, who has some wet issues going on.
Yeah, obviously Chris had the big spin at the starting series. You just see Alex taking all these quite odd lines, just trying to avoid the puddles. Sticking to the wall on the outside. Let's see what he does this one. Very slow in, nailing the curve, not going too wide, but we might see just how dangerous the second corner is from his perspective on board. You see, it's just you see he's always stopping on those lines of just deep water. Well, not even deep, they're just pooling water. Just trying to go ahead, trying to get the throttle down. You see he can't get it yet. Waiting. Only now he's just got throttle and he's just letting the car coast through those rivers at this point.
It's absolutely treacherous, isn't it? You got Alex CDL here, one of the fastest drivers in the league, and he's been reduced to basically walk-in speed through those puddles. But interestingly, he's not pulling away anymore, the gap to Scuderia Sam. So you have to make sure he doesn't make too many errors here. He goes over that puddle now. He's nearly spinning. He has spun slightly on the grass. There's nothing you could do about that, though. Just the aquaplaning. Absolutely nothing you could do about that. Off on the grass, and he's already lost 4 seconds now because of that. So it's getting a little bit tense here towards the end of the race.
Yeah, it's all good and well trying to get to the finish line, which you want to do, but you got to try and keep some pace up, and it's just so slow at the moment. And
that puddle.
Yeah, it's catching everyone out at the moment, and even Alex taking that shallow line, hugging the inside, is still not doing anything. And if any, and it made a bit worse as they ended up on the grass, which is like ice in this rain.
But that's the thing, isn't it? As soon as you get on that grass and you start spinning, then your wheels get dirty, they lose traction, they cool down, and it just leads into another spin. It's a vicious circle then, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just never ending. And see, Sam is pushing quite nicely, avoiding the outside puddles. Going to try and chase down the leader. It looks like like you said, he's taken a lot of time out of Alex, and this battle continues. Stalker Brown, Stewart in third place. I think they've been battling the entire race.
Yeah, they pretty much have. And I think they've overtaken each other and been overtaken by the other one more times than anyone else. Oh, now look, we've got Big Bad Wolf and BDCC Dan in the rain having a proper battle. So, yeah, all bets are off here. What on earth is going to happen next? And Big Bad Wolf, and he runs a bit wide there, and that nearly opens up the corner for BDCC Dan, but they avoid contact, and BDCC Dan now is in that slipstream, getting a mouthful of water behind Big Bad Wolf. And they're side by side, I think. Are they going down the straight? Big Bad Wolf's looking in his mirrors. I think BDCC Dan's on the inside there somewhere. But there's a big puddle of water that they have to avoid now as well on the last corner. So just puddles forming everywhere now, lap by lap. Racing lines just changing drastically, isn't it, all the time? And Big Bad Wolf has pulled out a bit of an advantage now over BDCC Dan as we head into what must be the last couple of laps of this race.
Yeah, I think they remembered they're actually teammates and didn't want to hit each other off. Especially as it's still quite good point scoring at the moment. It's different points to what the Ginettas were, because it's more drivers no longer a top 10. As you see Scuderi Sam going through the big stream at the chicane, going through quite well. It looks like he positioned his car enough so it wasn't going to go off. On board now, I think, yeah, that's Alex up ahead. So he's caught up massively and just about see him, and he's braving through the puddles. I think that's the difference. He's actually being brave at this point and trying to get that power down, and it's working for him.
Yeah, you can see the more stabbing action on the steering wheel of Scuderi Sam as he's on the controller compared to when riding on board with Alex. It's a lot smoother. Yeah, in these conditions, it's really now coming down to crunch time in this race, and nearly lost it there on the curb, on the wet curb. You don't want to put the car over there. And Alex will be looking in his mirrors now and seeing one of his big long-time rivals of this championship behind him. But Alex knows he's got the pace here too.
Yeah, but I think that was in the dryers. We see and someone, that might be Alex Brown. Oh, cutting the corner. Looks like he just lost it in the background there. So lost, the cameraman couldn't find him, so we're on board with him. Going to this other bit, I think it's Villeneuve this section. As we go to the final lap now, so close battle with Sam. Has he lost a bit of time there? Looks like he's not as close at this point. He has to go around the back marker. Let's go. Not doing any good. Oh, that's Alex sideways. He'll be trying to get a hurry on here, but he just can't. And Sam's caught up massively in that bit, so he's found a line which actually helps him get through there faster than Alex. So this could be a tense few corners. Just see that car is absolutely squirrely at the moment.
You can see they got different lines, haven't they, through that complex of corners there and round the whole track pretty much. I wonder if that's because of driving style or because of the difference in controller versus rig. But look, Alex very wide now, and he's in that puddle now. He just has to get it through this. He's just breaking traction. He's desperately trying to keep the thing straight, and Scuderi Sam also keeping the thing straight. And look how close they are now. They've got a spinner in the background again there, and they're really close. There's half of a lap to go though. Not many overtaken spots left to go, and Alex does seem a little bit quicker through the second half, so you have to wait and see how it pans out here. Scuderi Sam riding the curbs, Alex avoiding them through this section here. Round the puddle they go now. Alex has a great exit. Yeah, really good exit from Alex through there. So that will hopefully, for his sake, keep Scuderi Sam at bay as they go down to one of the last main overtaking spots in this circuit. Down this corner, Scuderi Sam's too far back to send it from there. He'd have to do a Ratzer style overtake from there, wouldn't he? Yeah,
definitely. Or hope his Formula C car turns into a jet ski at this point. But there's still two corners left, and it's still tricky as you see a bit of debris to the left there. We want to avoid that. Obviously, there's no punctures, but you never know with project cars too. Could cause a mishap. Last corner, Sam will be braking as late as he dares. Both trying to get through as safe as possible. The exit's just as important, and it looks like they're through. And Alex comes home to be the first Formula C race winner.
Yeah, fantastic drive from Alex Ideal. I mean, he had the pace and came under pressure towards the end, but he managed to keep the thing on the circuit and collect the maximum points on offer ahead of his long-term rival Scuderi Sam. And interestingly, the GT5 Ginetta and Junior champions from the last championship finished first and second there. So in completely different cars, so that's quite an interesting one. And look at that, still battling going on. Yeah, BDCC Dan's round. Big Bad Wolf goes up the hill now and away and clear of his teammate by the looks of it. They were battling so hard, weren't they? That puddle's really caught everyone out today. It looks like this is McG coming around. Stuart Davis has collected third place ahead of Stalker Brown after that fantastic battle, and Sabrosa and McG coming over the line now. Great drive by McG in the end, not finishing far behind Sabrosa at all.
Yeah, Loopy did fantastically. I think the conditions really helped him as he's used to it being from Scotland. But who's that? That's Roger around, so he's still struggling. So he could be in danger from Alex. I think that's him in the background there. So he'll have to be careful. There's a lot of uncharacteristic mistakes from Roger this race. Whether the rain's caught him out, I know he's not had much practice, being fresh back from America. But yeah, it'd be definitely a lot of work now for Roger, even if it is first round.
Yeah, look at some of the replays now. This is the pile-up at the start. Pretty unavoidable. You can see Alex Brown there flying over the top of everyone else.
You need a pilot's license after that. That was a 10 from me from start.
This is looking at... That's the Scuderia Sam. Let's see what happened to him then. How he ended up on his roof.
Oof. Just collided wheels, it looked like, and it absolutely sent him.
Yeah, with Roger the Dodger. A bit of Project Cars 2 physics going on as well there, I think.
I think it's Alex to start getting away. Just nice clean start, no fusses, and I think that's what saved him towards the end. Close to the gravel line.
Yeah, that's exactly the sort of start that he was probably imagining, is to see Scuderia Sam going airborne into the fog there in the background. Stuart Davis actually was quite close coming out of turn 2 there, wasn't he? But he was under pressure from behind there. I think Roger the Dodger early on up into second there as well. And they both ended up going off on the gravel by the looks of it. Didn't really see a lot of that in the fog earlier on, did we?
No, I think Roger definitely hampered him, and then all the battling really didn't help us. So Alex just got cleanly went. Who's this?
BTC Dan, is it?
Bad
Wolf?
No, I think they're different. This might be Sabrosa.
Oh, Sabrosa, yeah, you're right. Yeah, and Stalker Brown possibly.
Yeah, that chicane was absolutely awful. They really need to sort the drainage there. Just all pulls down from the uphill section, just sits there. So yeah, at least the drivers know that to avoid it. I'm surprised the viewers didn't cut the corner more. And this was Stalker and Stu still hitting the side of his podling up in the air. Not as spectacular as Alex and Sam, but still good.
It's amazing how many comings together they had. It was still just carried on and ended up finishing the race just within a couple of seconds of each other, isn't it? Considering how many times they could have ended up in the wall. And this is Stuart Davis and Scuderia Sam, long-term rivals, fighting as Stuart came out of the pits, and Scuderia Sam just about managed to get that position ahead, which was crucial in the end because all the battling that happened behind would have not enabled Scuderia Sam to catch up to Alex so much towards the end here.
Yeah, if anything, it was quite lucky for Alex that Sam got caught up like that, because I think it would have been a lot closer and possibly a different ending to this first round.
Yeah, but a close finish, and we're used to close finishes after the Ginetta Championship, but yeah, fantastic first race here today, and probably one of the hardest challenges the drivers could have had in these cars in the wet at this circuit. But it's confirmation of the result. Alex CDL taking the win over Scuderia Sam there. Stuart Davis in third, ahead of Stalker Brown. Sabrosa, Luke McGee, Roger the Dodger, Alex Brown in eighth, Big Bad Wolf and BDCC Dan in ninth and 10th. They're rounding out the top 10. And I can't actually remember the point system off the top of my head, but we'll hopefully see the standings up in the moment, Alex.
Yeah, I think winner gets 40 points, so I think that's all I can remember from there, but there's the rest of the grid then. Wolf beats Dan McEv's Stockley in the 12th position. He won't be happy with that. Twingo in 13th, and then Frigazel in 14th, to be glad to see the end of the rain and carry on.
Yeah, driver standings, so it's 40 points for Alex CDL, 35 for Scuderia Sam, 30 for Stuart Davis, and then Stalker Brown, Sabrosa, and it goes down 2 points then after that each time, all the way down to Frigazel in 14th there. He's either winning it, Frigazel, isn't he, or he's right at the back, and when it rains it pours for him. Yeah,
definitely, it's one to forget, but worth to remember. It's new cars and to dry off and get ready for the next round.
But I think he is our driver of the day, Frigazel.
Yeah, definitely.
For his commitment.
Yeah, definitely commitment. It's in tricky conditions, teammates shouting at you, so to carry on to the end, it's quite good. And we see the team standings, which we didn't speak up much about, but Luffy and Stu are on 48, only 2 points ahead of Alex and Chris Dougherty in 46, and Scuderia same as 35. Only Scuderia was racing, so normal for him for not having his teammates show up. And then Brantastic in 4th, Mike Dodger in 5th, Free Brosa in 6th, Crash and Bash 7th, and Alex Man 221 in 8th.
Yeah, we were missing D-Man and Seamus, weren't we, from the grid today? So 14 runners out of the 16 we expected. But not too bad of a turnout, it has to be said, for the first round. And hopefully it will continue. So yeah, next up we head to... Where are we heading to?
Sugo.
Yeah, so from Alex and I, thanks for watching. And we'll see you at Sugo next time out for round 2.